Good evening, sir. Pastor Purdy, Dr. Purdy, Reverend Purdy, Ambassador Purdy. Um, an honor always to be with you. And last night it was like kind of, when I heard you and like Maria and Maxine McLean, Miss McLean together. Wow, it was good last night. It was
Well,
good
thank
last
you.
night.
Thank
I
you so
listened
much.
from start to finish, and I'm so pleased to be with you this evening. And as I greet all the others, good evening, loyal sons and daughters of firm craftsmen of our faith. And I was out all day. I just scrambled in actually. We got in at about 7:15, but duty called, so I had to carry
Yes, yes.
on. And so
Yes,
I have no visuals, but it's in my head and it's in my heart.
yes,
So I
yes.
shall speak and share with you. And you would have begun it last night. Um, Looking at what's happening in St. Lucie with that hospital. So I wouldn't belabor it because um, Maxine provided good information on it in terms of money spent and what it was suggested or proposed by Honorable Dr. Corey Ford after the pandemic and its use for the pandemic, how it would have been used. But Pastor Purdy, just let me preface why I'm focusing on St. Lucie. Actually, we did a last minute bus ride into St. Lucie. I wanted to touch St. Lucie before I came on, as I did some time back with St. Andrew, when I felt like to traverse St. Andrew and then speak to matters pertaining to the lack of, of attention to St. Andrew. And
Now,
I did,
Rose, if I could ask you to just pull the mic from up underneath your neck, up in line with your
I'm
lips.
sorry, I'm
There
sorry,
you go. There you go. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay. That's
Um,
all right.
is
That's all
that
right.
better? Is
That
that
is
better?
brilliant. That is clean, crystal clear. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. And so I
Uh,
went into St. Lucie,
yeah.
my husband and I, and we took the 3:30 Jersey Hill Connelltown bus. And why St. Lucie? On the early morning of Tuesday, the it would be the early morning of Wednesday, the 2nd of July. I was awakened around 3 o'clock. And I know when I'm awakened around that time that the Lord is trying to get my attention. It's a pattern, it's a relationship we have. Do bear with me, those of you who are here. Um, I'm not seeking to win over anyone, but I'm sharing my experience. And I got up and I went off by myself into the living room. My husband was sound asleep, and I started to pray frantically, all over the place for
Hmm.
whomever, whatever, wherever. And then came into Barbados. And when I got to Barbados, I said, Lord, what are you telling me about Barbados? And I kid you not, Pastor Ferdy, we can relate at this level now.
Yes.
I saw Pray for Barbados. I will not disclose everything, but then I heard start with St. Lucie. And I saw St. Lucie, the top of St. Lucie where it's slanted, and the boundary line separates it from St. Andrew and St. Peter. And I heard pray for St. Andrew.
St. Lucie. St. Lucie needs a cleansing. St. Lucie needs to be put right. And if you start with St. Lucie, it will trickle down. And I started praying for St. Lucie. And I Googled, I said, I know who is the incumbent for St. Lucie, but who is the DLP candidate for St. Lucie? And I said, wait, I think it's Alvin Toppin. But is that the same Alvin Toppin that I'm told is sick, paralyzed, and not speaking, not doing well? Is that the same man that were asked to pray for? And I did pray. And I Googled, and it was him, Pastor Ferdy. And I started to tell the Lord, if his illness has come because he it was overworked, multitasking, doing his DJ work, doing his professional work as financial advisor, insurance agent, as well as canvassing and working really hard in St. Lucie. Please bring him into full recovery and restoration. And I found myself praying, should he not be restored to full recovery, please let someone else come alongside of him and his goodwill and favor be extended to whomever to work as a strong opposition in St. Lucie. When I woke, my husband woke up, I said, sit. This is what I was up praying about all morning. And then later in the day, I didn't have Wi-Fi, but as soon as I had access to Wi-Fi, it popped up on my screen that Facebook, that Alvin Toppin had passed. It hit me, Pastor Ferdy, as if it were a relative, because here I was taken up with praying for this man and St. Lucie. And St. Lucie was in my mind all the time from being awakened that Wednesday morning so early, the first of the same second of July, and it never has left me. Hence my ride into St. Lucie today. But I was saying there's more, and I remember being told as in my spirit that there is more happening in St. Lucie that is to come. And then we were hit, and I must thank Maria Bradshaw for her investigative. It is one of the best pieces of journalism that we have had for a while. That is what we can call investigative journalism, to inform us about what's happening with the isolation hospital at St. Lucie. And you spoke so well about it in wrapping up last night, that this current government said as they were going into election from 2008 that there would be 18, sorry, there would be transparency and accountability. We received none. And this occurrence with that hospital, how it has been recalibrated, how it has been dismantled, how it has been reallocated, all of those words to accommodate this development here at to accommodate the activity, the construction work. How insulting, how How disappointing. And I'm asking about representation, Pastor Ferdy. Did the MP for the incumbent for St. Lucie had a discussion, a meeting to say anything about that? Did he put up a case? Don't take it. Leave it for my people in the north. Leave it to service the people in the same St. Andrew and the same St. Peter. Did the MP for St. Peter put up a plea for that hospital, or they did learn about it through the same article that is on the screen now? Now, St. Lucie has been good enough for a naval base. That was the original use. And when that naval base was there, one of my husband's cousin, she married one of the military persons based at Harson's Point, and now she's in America. And I was told that the persons from the environs got work, got work out of the military naval base there. St. Lucie was good enough when Glengarry prisons were burnt. St. Harson's Point was good enough. St. Lucie was good enough to house hundreds of prisoners, many of them dangerous criminals.
Mhm. Mhm.
Harson's Point was good enough to have the isolation hospital for the pandemic. Many went in and never came out. And I have had relatives, one of my brothers, he went to Harson's Point for 15 or 17 days and struggled for his life. It was good enough to be set up so quickly at that cost to taxpayers for the pandemic. And I have no issue if it were done for that purpose and used for that purpose to save lives. Whatever you may feel about COVID-19, it was put to good use, that facility. Is St. Lucie only good to house for so many decades the cement plant, where so many persons complain for respiratory um, conditions? The Griffiths, I know them very well. I was a visitor to their home in Checker Hall. Mr. Roy Griffith, who built those homes, five of them, for three daughters and two sons. And I used to roam those houses and proud that a black man could build these houses for his children. And then they had to abandon those houses. Now I'm glad that their houses have been restored to them. The cement plant, it's being closed. But isn't St. Lucie not deserving of that hospital being kept there to serve that northern part of Barbados? And today, as I drove on the bus, you know what came to mind, Pastor Ferdy? That song, Patches, I'm depending on you, son, to pull the family through. And I told my husband that, and he started laughing. The roads are patched, patched. They did a quick fix, a good smooth road to go down. It was River Bay for regathering, and then nothing else. Every other road going into St. Lucie, after St. Andrew, it's St. Lucie. We go for bus rides through St. Andrews, through St. Lucie. St. Lucie today had such a peace. It's such a peaceful parish. Clusters of houses, like you could see their family, extended family. Then other houses separate, but you don't get a sense of being distant from each other. Is it that the people of St. Lucie are so long suffering, like the rest of Barbados, that these things can be done to them? What was the consultation? Where are the MPs? Where is the incumbent Peter Phillips? Where is the incumbent for the neighboring St. Peter? What's his name? Um, MP Colin Jordan. Where's the MP for St. Andrew? Just close there. Um, what's his name again? MP Dr. Rommel Springer. Nobody puts up a plea for their constituents and constituency. What about the St. Joseph Hospital? My mother, for a short period when she came back from England, before transitioning to New York, my mother worked at that St. Joseph Hospital as an auxiliary nurse, and she liked it. I remember dropping her there many times in between 1980 81. And the peace at St. Joseph Hospital, and we bemoan its loss and the promises that have been made to the people that they are going to reopen it, they're going to let that be a health facility for the northern parts of the island. And my concern is that it is not fair how we, the Barbadian people, are being treated public, how we're being treated. I am not against investment, but we are hearing how shaky the tourism product is. And as we were driving, I am seeing the landscape on the West Coast. There are more hotels going up. And hence this one now. Why haven't you come back to us and told us the planned changes, the planned change of use for that facility at Harrison Point? Why haven't you been open in terms of telling us how much money will be gained from that lease? Too many of our china and silver and gold from our treasury, whether it is money or whether it is our assets, our land, these are being plucked out of our hand. Like we can't ever forget that tragedy. I call it a tragedy of the old General Hospital given to the African Bank, and under trying to mummize that. Oh, it is look, we've given CDB and we give Tahoe land and we give CHC, but that's a different kettle of fish. That's a different argument there. They don't line up. We give away that property. I cannot help think of what has happened in Whole Town. As we drove through Whole Town to St. Lucie, I could not help but look at the civic center that has been given away again. And you're displacing others because of what you call investment. What at now? Now we are hearing that what's going to happen to the garrison, what that school is called now. I
You
can't
mean
remember.
you mean the Garrison School?
Yes, they're moving the garrison school. They're shutting it down, and they are moving that faculty to the Ursuline Convent um, property. And
But
what plans?
hold a minute,
Yes,
Rose.
please.
But wasn't the Ursuline Convent designated for a college or something of the sort? Wasn't there
Yes,
some conversation? You see, the problem I have with this government is that nobody seems to sit down and plan. That's the problem I have, Rose. It's like every decision is being made on the fly. You know what I'm saying?
yes.
It reminds me of the current West Indies cricket team. There's no plan. You're going out there and you're just batting and bowling. There's no constructive plan. How are we going to build the innings? How we're going to extend the innings? How we're going to attack? There is such a lack of of planning and execution, and I can't help but think that they are shooting in the dark because, of course, elections are close, and they're just trying to throw a whole set of things together to make the people think that they're busy doing something.
But Pastor Ferdy, when you think of it, you are moving the garrison school from there. Why? Why? And for what use will that property be used? Is it are we speculating that there is going to be from all along that south coast all the way down, including the government
Yep.
facilities
Yes.
on around the garrison? Will those be given away like they've given to a Fritzen bank, like they've given to the investors down at down in whole town? Like there are no, I have my doubts about the short-term lease of that property to house contractors and the workers as well as materials. That is ludicrous. That is ludicrous. And you're saying, God forbid, should there be some other pandemic, but we don't want that.
Well, they're
But should
planning
we
that.
need,
The World Health Organization and the rest of them are already planning it. Fauci spoke about it. The World Health Organization said we're going to have one. The head of the United Nations said we're going to have one. These are prophets, prophets that arrange things to happen for the monetary benefit. And people don't want to say it, but I'm not afraid to say it. There's nothing to do with no pandemic in this world. God is not stupid. They're planning all of this. Anyhow, let me let you go ahead because you don't want to get me
and
started.
I'm going to wrap up. One of the things I would like the persons from the constituents from St. Lucie to do, seek out your MP, the
Yes.
incumbent uh, Peter Phillips, and ask him what provision has been made for the unemployed and the underemployed in his constituency, St. Lucie, on that project that is being undertaken by Pendry?
But wait a
Will
minute,
his
my dear.
constituent,
Wait a minute. In the article I just had up on the screen, okay, and I'm going to try to get back to it. In the article I just had up on the screen, it states clearly the company has imported several foreign workers. This is the company that's setting up, which is a resort, mind you. It is not a medical facility. I can go back to the article.
I
It is,
read that. And
yes.
so it is within that context that I am saying lobby your NP. I also wondered how many persons from that constituency and from the north were employed at the former cement plant. I heard that the cement plant was did things within and for the community. Fair enough. But with this now, where your taxpayers' monies have been disabused by taking up a facility that was built with your money and putting it in the hands and of these investors who are building a resort. That is an insult. It's injurious. It is saying that the people, you don't care about the people. And when I was told when they were building Sam Lord's Castle, the Chinese, as usual, had their facilities, but other persons were were housed or they were rented property for the workers. Why can't there are houses, many houses in St. Lucie that can do air bed and breakfast, that can be rented out for the duration and bring some money, bring some prosperity, however short lived, some wealth, however short lived, but shared amongst the people. What are you getting from that lease? Are you being transparent that it is only for a given period? Or somewhere along the line, we are hearing that plans have changed. Also, I would like the Minister of Health to invite the press and other interested parties from civil society on a site visit to show us where all the equipment is being housed, being relocated, and for what use. Don't just tell us that the equipment somewhere in this same um, report here that the equipment has been moved and will be used at the hospital. And Pastor Further, you spoke about it. I know of persons who've gone to Cayman for treatment on their heart.
Hmm.
I know people in Colombia who've gone to Colombia for surgery,
Hmm.
elective surgery, and for cancer treatment. I know persons who still go to Trinidad, but we can't offer it here. Call a press conference and a tour with the media and other interested persons and point to us where these things, the equipment, and the other um, things, items from the isolation hospital, where they are, have they been sold off, or have they been we're hearing of private public partnership between a recent entity that has opened and government. The prime minister talk about it. Let us know what you are doing. Don't let us hear these things when you go to Jamaica. Don't let us hear these things when you are on the world platform. Don't let us hear these things when you are cutting the ribbon at a Fritzing bank and you're talking about the diatribe the people engage in. Don't let us hear these things when you're cutting the ribbon at the most recent private health um, faci- um, facility. Talk to the people. Let us know. Let us know our health matters. And
Yes,
I'm
yes.
asking St. Lucie to rise up, lobby your MP, ask him to get some work for you all at that site, which should be up to what, 18 months to 2 years. Ask for work there. I'm sure St. Lucie has skilled artisans and they can benefit from the giveaways. And remember, St. Lucie has the home of the father of independence, Prime Minister, the Honorable Araba. What have they done for it? While you are making St. Lucie now a model in tourism investment, the latest baby to come to tourism, fix up the Prime Minister's childhood home. And this where I'm at. And also those from St. Peter and those from St. Andrew, ask your MP, did you have a say and what was going on at that facility. And I am noticing, Reverend Ferdy, that their supporters are putting up arguments that we don't have the staff, we don't have the doctors, we don't have the nurses, we don't have um, the resources needed, the manpower needed to run a medical facility in the north. What was that? So you
Well,
mean that the North doesn't deserve anything good? Only a prison, only an isolation hospital, and a cement plant, and patches in the road, a dirty water, dirty water for all these months, dirty, um, non-potable water all these months. St. Lucie doesn't deserve more.